My name is Emily Granger, and the night everything changed started like any other. We were having a quiet family dinner at my parents' place in Oak Ridge, Indiana, a sleepy suburb that prides itself on Midwest charm. I wasn't expecting hugs or warmth. I'd learned not to, but I also wasn't prepared for what came next. As I stepped through the front door, my mother called from the kitchen like nothing had ever fractured between us. "We're just about to eat, honey. Come in." It felt staged, too cheerful, like I'd walked in on a dress rehearsal for a play I wasn't supposed to be in. My dad stood from his chair just a beat too late, like he was unsure if we still hugged or just nodded now. We nodded. My younger brother Tyler didn't even glance up. He was already seated, thumbs glued to his phone like always, perfectly disinterested. Typical. I didn't come here to be adored anyway. At the table, my seat was already pulled out. A glass sat at my place. Cranberry juice. The same kind I used to drink as a teenager. No fancy garnish, no holiday twist, just plain juice. A detail that should have been comforting. "You still like cranberry, right?" my mom asked, giving me a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. I nodded. I hadn't touched the stuff in over a year, but this wasn't the time for honesty. We all took our seats. Dinner was the usual: roasted chicken, mashed potatoes, a side of green beans. The kind of meal you cook when you're trying to say everything's normal. The small talk floated around the table. "How's work? Still in the same apartment? Traffic's been crazy, huh?" I smiled, answered, even laughed when Tyler mentioned a coworker getting stuck in the elevator, not because it was funny, but because I knew my role, the dependable daughter, the one who doesn't stir the pot. And then, in the middle of my dad's fifth complaint about city construction, my phone buzzed in my lap. I checked it under the table. A message, from an unknown number. No emojis, no flair, just sharp final words. "Get up and leave now. Don't say anything to your parents." I stared at the screen, read it again. The kitchen lights hummed. My mother nodded to something my father said. Tyler chewed his food. All perfectly ordinary, except someone was warning me, as if the walls had just shifted and I hadn't even noticed. I didn't react right away. A dozen possibilities fired through my mind. Maybe it was a prank, a scam, a wrong number, or some paranoid stunt, but my instinct said otherwise. That feeling deep in your chest you can't explain, only obey. I slid my chair back casually. "Be right back," I said, trying to sound normal. "Just need the bathroom." No one looked up. No one questioned it. I took my phone and walked upstairs, not because the downstairs bathroom wasn't available, but because the upstairs one had a door that locked properly, quietly, completely. Inside, I locked the door behind me, sat on the edge of the bathtub, and stared at the message again. My hand trembled slightly as I hit call. It rang once, then a voice. "Emily, you're still there? Who is this?" "It's Caleb, my brother's ex-boyfriend, or maybe current." It was always complicated. "What the hell is going on?" His voice was tense, rushed. "You need to leave the house. Don't drink anything. Just get out. Don't drink the juice." My heart stalled. I glanced at the untouched cranberry glass in my mind. "Why?" "Caleb, what are you talking about? I can't explain everything right now. Just trust me, please. Get out." "No, not until you tell me what's going on." "Why the juice? What's in it?" A pause. Just one, but it felt too long. Then quietly he said, "I think they're trying to drug you." The silence that followed didn't feel real, like the whole world had hit mute. "You're serious?" I whispered. "They want to get into your phone, use your fingerprint." I overheard them talking about it, planning it. "Emily, I know it sounds insane, but I swear it's real." I sat there, stunned. The cool bathroom tiles seeped through my clothes. Caleb's words echoed over and over. "They want to unlock your phone, use your thumb, transfer the money." And I hadn't even touched the juice. After the call ended, I didn't move for a while. I just sat there, staring at my hands, feeling the weight of something I hadn't wanted to name. The tiles beneath me were cold, the kind of cold that creeps into your spine. I could hear faint sounds downstairs, the scrape of a fork, a soft laugh from my mother, the low murmur of my father's voice. It all sounded so normal, too normal. But that text, that voice, Caleb's urgency, it wouldn't let me pretend anymore. I had a choice to make. I could walk downstairs, drink that juice, and play along, or I could follow my gut. And I'd already made my choice the moment I walked into that bathroom. I unlocked my phone, changed every financial login, activated real two-factor authentication with a separate device. Not the simple kind that sends a code to a phone number, but the kind only I could confirm. And then, I did something they never saw coming. I activated a background recording app. No flashy buttons, no red lights, just clean, silent audio recording set to run with my screen off. Hidden, undetectable. I knew my family. I knew how they underestimated me. I worked in cybersecurity, for God's sake. I build systems to catch people trying to outsmart other people, and I knew what they'd miss, what they'd never think to check. I walked back downstairs slowly, slipping the phone back into my pocket like nothing had changed. The glass of cranberry juice was still there, waiting for me, as if it hadn't just become a symbol of betrayal. I sat, picked up the glass, swirled it slightly. "Tastes like I remember," I said with a smile. But I didn't take a sip. Instead, I casually glanced toward the window. Did someone just pull into the driveway? They all turned to look. That's when I tilted the glass just under the table, letting the juice dribble quietly into the carpet. Not the whole thing, just enough to sell it. Then I slumped slightly in my seat. "Just feel a little off," I murmured. Concern bloomed across my mother's face like she was auditioning for the role of caregiver. "You okay, honey?" "Yeah," I said. "Just a little dizzy. Maybe I need to lie down for a bit." And like that, they helped me to the couch. Like a family, like nothing was wrong. But everything was wrong. The couch cushion was warm beneath me, a little too soft. My mom tucked a blanket over my legs like I was fragile. My dad adjusted a pillow behind my head. Tyler sat nearby, quiet, watching something on his phone, or pretending to. I closed my eyes, not fully, just enough to look like sleep had settled in. My breath slowed, my face relaxed. I became still. Every instinct in my body screamed at me to get up and run, but I didn't move. Then came the whisper. "Is she out?" my mom asked, barely audible. "Yeah," Tyler replied without hesitation. "She's out cold." A pause. Then my dad's voice. "Let's do this. Quick." Footsteps shuffled. I felt the weight shift on the coffee table. Then the unmistakable click of my phone being picked up. "She's still using fingerprint unlock," my mom murmured. "Lift her thumb," my dad said. And then soft fingers curled around my hand. Gentle, like a parent tucking in a child. But it wasn't love. It was theft disguised as tenderness. They pressed my thumb to the sensor. A faint vibration. Unlocked. I wanted to scream, to sit up, to stop them. But I needed them to keep going. I needed them to say it out loud. They did. "Okay," Tyler whispered. "We're in." More tapping. "It's asking for a code," my brother said. "What code?" my mom asked. "Two-step verification," Tyler muttered. "She changed it." My dad cursed under his breath. "Try the banking app," my mom said. Still tapping. Still trying. Same thing. "Locked out," Tyler said again, his voice tight with frustration. A moment of silence followed. I could hear the sound of them breathing, shuffling, thinking. Then my mom, calm as ever, put the phone back. Just like that. They placed it gently where it had been. Smoothed the blanket over me, like nothing had happened. Like they hadn't just tried to rob their own daughter while she pretended to be unconscious in front of them. I waited a few more seconds. Let my breath remain slow, my eyes still. And when I opened them again, I blinked just once, yawned lightly, and sat up. "Sorry," I mumbled. Think I blacked out for a second. They stared at me. Faces neutral, lips tight, eyes lying. "You sure you're okay?" my dad asked. "Yeah, I think I just need some air." I stood up, grabbed my phone gently, and smiled. "Actually, I think I'll head out. Got an early meeting." They nodded. No protest. Just a strange kind of silence. "Thanks for dinner," I added at the door. They each came up, one after another, and we hugged. My mother, my father, my brother. It felt hollow. A routine. A final act. And I knew in that moment, this was the last time I'd ever hug them. After this, there would be no coming back. As I stepped outside, the cool air hit me like a truth I had been too scared to accept. My shoes crunched over the gravel driveway, my hand steady on the car door handle. I didn't look back, not once, because I couldn't afford to. I didn't drive away in a panic. No screeching tires, no shaking hands, just calm, controlled, like I was running an errand, not fleeing the scene of a betrayal. Back at my apartment, I did what they never imagined I would. I wiped my phone clean, completely restored it, reinstalled only the essentials, and set up biometric restrictions so tight even the FBI would need clearance. Changed my bank credentials, froze my credit, pulled my name from all linked family accounts, rewrote my emergency contacts. Then I called my lawyer, not because I planned to sue, not yet, but because people who do what my family just did don't stop at one try. And while I locked down every financial door they thought they could sneak through, I transferred the audio file, all of it, their voices, the exact moment they unlocked my phone, the phrases, just enough to settle it. "She blacks out after one drink. She won't even know." I labeled the file clearly, timestamped everything, matched it with failed login attempts from my banking app, perfectly in sync with the time I'd been lying on that couch. Then I saved it in 3 separate places. That night, I slept with my phone on airplane mode. The apartment was dark, quiet, but my mind buzzed with the weight of what had almost happened. Not just the theft, but the coldness, the choreography, the way they worked together, without hesitation, like they'd done it before. Maybe they had. And suddenly, the memories started piecing together. The borrowed money, the guilt trips, the subtle emotional blackmail masked as love. I used to think I was overreacting, that maybe I was just too sensitive. But not anymore. The illusion was gone. They weren't protecting me. They never had. They were just waiting for me to sleep. The next morning, I got dressed like I was going to work, but I didn't go to the office. I drove downtown instead, parked across from the county precinct, and walked inside like I was returning a library book. No nerves, no hesitation, just purpose. I waited behind a man asking about a parking citation. Then, when it was my turn, I stepped up to the glass and said clearly, "I need to report a crime." The woman behind the desk didn't blink. "What kind of crime?" I didn't lower my voice. "My family tried to drug me and steal from me. I have proof." That got her attention. She led me to a small interview room. It was plain gray carpet, dull overhead light, a table that smelled like sanitizer. An officer walked in. Not rushed, not suspicious, just curious. He didn't ask me why I hadn't gone to the ER. Didn't ask why I was calm. He just said, "Tell me what happened." So I did. I played the audio recording first. He didn't interrupt, just listened. His expression slowly shifting from mild curiosity to something firmer, focused. When the clip ended, he exhaled. "You realize what this is, right?" I nodded. "They tried to access my bank account using my biometric data while I was unconscious. That's attempted fraud, misuse of personal access, and probably a few other charges." He asked to see my bank logs. I showed him the matching login attempts, time-stamped within seconds of when the audio was recorded. He nodded slowly, typed notes into a clunky terminal, and told me this was serious, that they could proceed formally if I wished. I told him I wished. Then he asked me something I wasn't ready for. "Do you feel safe?" That one hit differently. I paused. And then I told him the truth. "I do now, because I'm done pretending I'm part of a family that treats betrayal like business." He gave me a soft nod and offered the name of a contact in the Victims Assistance Program. I thanked him, signed the report, and walked out of that station steadier than I had felt in years. I wasn't angry. I wasn't sad. I was free. 2 days later it started. My phone, new number, private line buzzed relentlessly. 4 missed calls, 3 voicemails, all before noon. The first message came from my mom. "Emily, did you seriously report your own family to the police?" The second arrived minutes later. "What is wrong with you?" I didn't answer. I didn't even listen to the rest. Then came a voicemail from Tyler. His voice was shaky, agitated. "It was just a mistake. You blew this way out of proportion. We didn't even take anything." Right, because failed theft is somehow noble. Next up was a call from my dad. I let it ring. He left a message, voice tight with a fury he tried to mask. "You think this is going to fix anything? You're tearing the family apart. You don't do this to your own people." I texted back once, just once. "You drugged me. You tried to rob me. That's not family. That's a felony." Then I blocked them, one by one. Mom, Dad, Tyler, every contact, every group chat, even emergency bypasses, gone. I froze my credit, rewrote my will, changed every security setting I could think of. And you know what? It didn't hurt. It didn't sting like I thought it would. It felt clean. They didn't contest the charges. Not after hearing that audio. Not after the banking logs synced perfectly. Not after the detective sat across from me and said, "We can handle this the easy way or the hard way." They chose the easy way. Each of them got 1 year of probation, community service, fines, no contact order, no prison time. But they didn't walk away untouched. The charges may have been light, but the shame? Permanent. I never reached out, never checked in, but word has a funny way of traveling. It was my cousin Jenna on my dad's side who mentioned it first. We weren't close, but she'd always been the kind of person who stayed in the loop. "They sold the house," she said casually, like she was talking about the weather. "Too much debt, legal fees. They couldn't keep up." I didn't ask for details. I didn't need to. The silence from the rest of the extended family was confirmation enough. No one said a word. No shocked texts. No dramatic group messages. Just a kind of collective stillness, like everyone had quietly agreed to look the other way. I guess scandal hits different when it's close to home. As for Tyler, well, I saw him once, a couple months later. I was in the next town over, picking up some groceries after work. I turned down the paper goods aisle, and there he was, stocking shelves, wearing a green polo and a company vest, his head down, no music, no earbuds, just quiet mechanical movements. He didn't notice me. Or maybe he did, and just never looked up. Finance hadn't worked out, I guess. I didn't say anything, didn't make a scene or try to get closure. I just grabbed my pasta, turned around and walked to the register. Later I found out from an old mutual acquaintance, someone who still floats in their circles, that Caleb had moved out. No fight, no drama, just packed his things one afternoon and disappeared. And honestly, I didn't blame him. Some endings don't need fireworks or final words, they just arrive, quiet and overdue. These days I don't get messages asking for help. There are no guilt-laced family updates, no last-minute requests wrapped in obligation. My fridge is filled with food I picked out. My bank balance reflects my choices, not theirs. And my phone, silent, blissfully so. What I thought would feel like abandonment turned out to be peace. I was never alone. I was just finally free. Sometimes people ask me if I regret it, cutting off my entire family with no warning, no apology accepted, no olive branch extended. The truth? No. Not even for a second, because once you see people clearly, see the manipulation, the rehearsed concern, the way they reach for your hand not out of love but out of convenience, you can't unsee it. They didn't just try to steal from me, they tried to rewrite the very foundation of trust, to turn something sacred, family, into a tool, a weapon, a vault key, and they didn't flinch. That's what haunts me most. Not the act itself, but how natural it was to them, like it wasn't their first time walking that line. But here's what they didn't understand. I'd been watching, learning, quietly preparing for the moment I'd need to choose myself, and I did. I didn't scream, I didn't beg, I didn't even raise my voice. I just recorded, I protected what was mine, and I walked out. So if you're watching this wondering if standing your ground will cost too much, wondering if you'll lose everything by saying no, let me tell you something. You won't lose everything, you'll lose the illusion. And what comes after? That's yours to build. Freely. Finally. I don't have all the answers, but I know this. Sometimes peace doesn't come with reconciliation. It comes with a locked door, a quiet apartment, and the knowledge that every single thing in your life was earned by you, and only you. No tricks, no theft, no strings, just freedom. And that's worth everything. If this story resonated with you, share your thoughts in the comments. Have you ever had to walk away from someone you loved for your own good? Let us know below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more powerful stories just like this one. You never know. One story might be the one that helps someone else walk away.